Welcome back to the Minion Opinion. I'm here to talk movies. I'm here to talk 2025. You know, I think these are probably my two favorite movies of the year, and they're also the two that best represent the year, or even like the 2020s as a whole so far. You know, Eddington, I've just been thinking about so much, just constantly since it came out, whether it be, you know, current events or just whenever I'm on my phone taking in the most absurd and probably awful thing that I don't even know if it's real or not. And, you know, seeing the trailers for one battle after another, I did initially get that potential vibe of like, oh, there might be some sort of political 2025 type satire angle here. It also looked to take some sort of Western influence, or at least take from that scenery a little bit. So when one battle after another actually came out and people that weren't me started like actually comparing the two or calling them like sister movies, I thought that was the perfect opportunity for me to jump in. Because while I might just really love Eddington and want to talk about it whenever it's relevant, I actually do genuinely think the comparison here is really interesting. Now, I already mentioned some parallels. Obviously, we have the whole Western aesthetic and influences. You got the subject matter, tons of protests going on in both. You even got law enforcement going undercover to fight fire with fire, stoke the flames in both of them. But when we get into sort of the politics and the 2020s of it all, it's not just the subject matter there, it's what they have to say about the 2020s. I think both of these movies can definitely be looked at in like a progressive or leftist type lens. Like One Battle After Another very obviously has like a revolutionary focus, and there's gonna be people on the left that like don't really fuck with it. But I think even those people would acknowledge that Paul Thomas Anderson was going for something a bit more progressive, and maybe they just think he wasn't the right person for the job. Eddington also got a similar sort of feedback, but I'd say even more so. A lot of people on the left may be upset that they got a light ribbing out of it and kind of took that as a both sides sort of thing. Eddington is not a both sides movie. I mean, just watch the movie. I mean, the right-wingers are like psychopathic, insane murderers that plant evidence or destroy the environment with a data center or do false flags. Then, you know, Ari will make a pretty funny joke about how like protesters in 2020 would get scared of homeless people. Like, those are not portrayed as equal. Like, I really think the young white woman in that movie that, like, reads Marx or whatever, I really feel like she's meant to be taken maybe the most seriously of anybody. I really feel like that moment where she's yelling at the black cop saying, you know, like, I might be a hypocrite, I don't know if this all makes sense, but shit is so fucked and I just need to stand for something and I want you to stand with me. Like, I think that is meant to be taken earnestly. And you know, I'm happy One Battle didn't get as much flack there, but even One Battle has similar types of jokes and comes from a similar older leftist mindset.
I am a very big fan of this podcast and Chapo Trap House. I've been listening forever.
Maybe a little bit more out of touch with some of the Gen Z noise triggers. Like the whole thing with Comrade Josh, obviously. You're so hard to talk to. Naming Willa's non-binary friends as Bobo and Bluto. Like, that stuff's really not coming from a bad place. But I will admit, Eddington goes a bit further with it, sometimes in ways that I don't even like. Like, I'm a Gen Z, I don't say the R word. That's always gonna be the divide between me and Ari Aster. Hey, you know what scene I'm talking about. A lot of people saying, oh, it's their favorite part. Like, look, if that joke's your favorite part, you gotta simmer down a little bit. But if that joke ruined the movie for you, you gotta lighten up a little bit. It just definitely made me roll my eyes because I was just thinking of all the boomers in my audience who, like, literally only laughed at that joke in the entire movie. Because these are funny movies, man. I mean, that's another parallel right there, like dark humor. And speaking of humor, I just love all the names of places, people, and things in both of these movies. I mean, one battle after another, you got Rimhorn's Chicken Lickin' Frozen Food Farm, you got the Taco Shack, you got the Christmas Adventurers Club, Howard Somerville. How are you? Virgil Throckmorton? That was one of the Christmas Adventures. Did you catch the one that died at the start? They say, Jim Kringle passed away. I don't have as many specific for Eddington, but I mean solid gold Magikarp as a whole, come on. Each movie has several land acknowledgement jokes. In Eddington, you have that one kid giving a vigil to his friend, and then like mid-speech he actually just starts yelling about how they're on stolen land and they shouldn't be having a service at all. And then in one battle, of course, you got Comrade Josh joking about how he's somewhere between these two native lands, but obviously Leo's not gonna know him. Both movies do such a great job at depicting just the brutally boring or meaningless lives that these people at the top live. I mean, Lockjaw crying tears of joy over a desk. Joe Cross finally wins an election, but he's permanently disabled and has to live with his mom. Each movie ends with a newly facially disfigured old white conservative law enforcer guy going brain dead, but only one leaves us with hope. I'm not gonna bury the lead. I think that is the core difference between these two movies. We have late-stage nihilism and late-stage optimism. One battle after another portrays why we fight for the things that we fight for. It's family. Bob isn't even that much of a hero. He just kind of steps up and is there for Willa as a dad, and that's the most heroic thing he does at all. Even if they don't win the fight, they've been able to pass it on to their kids and pass on those morals and that love. Eddington, complete opposite. Disconnection. Online. COVID. Everything is telling you to stay inside, stay away from people. Paranoia. The paranoia in one battle? That's Leo. He's the outlier. He's the one on drugs. There's this sense of community with Sergio, this sense of found family and like shared struggle. And there's just none of that in Eddington. And again, this is not a criticism of Eddington. I think it does a great job of displaying the disconnection once again that's present once you bring the internet into play. The biggest difference between the two movies would actually be the presence of the internet. I mean, just think for a second. Think about the role of selfies in both movies. Just think of how different those interactions are portrayed. Think of how important the phone is to, everybody in Eddington, and how much of a literal burden or target it is for people in one battle. I don't mean to be too parasocial here, but it almost feels like the two directors' relationship with phones and the internet is almost reflected here. I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson has definitely gone on record about how phones just aren't cinematic and they're just not that interesting. Like, Paul Thomas Anderson is going out with Maya Rudolph and his kids, and, Ari Aster's doom scrolling, watching Chapo like the rest of us.
I am a very big fan of
Despicable Me.
Nobody who is able to portray the world just as nihilistically as Ari Aster is in Eddington would ever want to bear children into this world. It's just not. And again, it's no slight to Ari. I don't have kids yet. I love Chapo Trap House, but nobody with kids can make Eddington. You just can't. It's like weed dad versus not a dad. It's like weed fried brain versus internet fried brain. It's like online versus the front line. Is that good? Am I onto something? I'm gonna keep it there, but let me know if you liked this Minion Opinion. I got so many ideas in my head for videos like this or more, but I'll probably never do them unless they get attention or I get more free time. Right now, I've really been wanting to make one about Nintendo pricing and just the whole minefield of that. Games as art, as products. Maybe not the take you're expecting to. I don't know, we'll see. You can follow me on Letterboxd.